Alright folks, so this is Acid Roots. It's time for part 2 of Let's Play Super Punch-Out. So this is actually going to be a longer playthrough just because I originally thought I might be able to beat this in like 4 or 5 videos, but it's probably going to take longer than that. And that's just kind of the thing because a couple of these fighters do knock me down 3 times within the fight. Now it doesn't count that as a loss until you lose all 5 of your rests, but basically I turned off the Nintendo because I was getting a little bit annoyed with it, so I didn't want to tally that as a loss. So I simply turned it off, but then the second time I played through it, I was able to beat the circuit. So basically part 2 is just the failed run, and then part 3 is the run where I'm successful, but they're both going to be less than 15 minutes. So it might actually spill into part 4 a little bit. I'm just going to have more fun with this because I really don't feel like this is meant to be played as like a short playthrough. I mean, some people do speed runs of it, but that takes the juice out of the game, as if you excise the losses and stuff like that. Because I mean, really, when this game came out, I don't suppose that most people were able to beat it just within like a week or two. I mean, you really have to play it pretty obsessively to do that. And I mean, obviously the whole point is if you lose too much, you are supposed to delete your file. So I don't know if it keeps track of like your records. I don't think it does. I mean, if you delete the file, I'd assume that the records of the fighters you fought would probably be deleted also. But I did notice when I turned off the Nintendo and then I came back, it kept my record that I fought Bob, Charlie, and the rest of these guys with. So that was kind of the thing. So, but it just depends. I really just don't want to get locked out of Special Circuit and then have to fight all these assholes again. But at least when I start losing at Special Circuit, I'm going to just turn off the Nintendo before I completely lose, and that'll just be the thing, so I can just keep doing it. But you'll probably see sessions of that, and that'll be the thing there. But trying to think of what else has been going on right now. Kind of got some groceries and stuff, and but still kind of mellow right now. I did have Jimmy John's the other day, so yeah, so Dragon Chan, he kicks, and you just duck to avoid these, but he starts doing them without jumping in a little bit, and you just kind of move left to right. I mean, it should be, for the most part, I think it's a surprise if you never played this game, but he's really not too tough. It's just the fact that he has that counterattack that's the main annoying thing. So you basically have to let him attack first. In some cases, if you attack him, he'll counter it and then hit you, and then that's kind of the thing there. But so I just let him attack and then I hit him, get my special up, and really whip his ass. But I'm almost thinking I'm going to have to put in the combo system just so I could really maul these guys. I think you just have to go to options to do it, but I need to be able to whip these guys' asses a little bit better, because just the one special is not enough to really win. And he can heal himself, that's another thing, so you want to make sure you knock this guy out fairly quickly. So I think you only get like 3 or 5 minutes to knock these guys out, and I don't know what happens if you don't. I've never really fought any of these guys. I mean, I think like the Bruiser Bros at the very end, because your attacks do so little damage to them, I think that's about the only real characters that the 3-minute time limit really goes. But as long as you have more health, I don't think it should really matter. But I don't know if there's like a system where if you don't knock these guys out, it counts as a loss. I think they want you to actually knock them to the ground. So, but we'll cross that pond when we get to it. But this guy is a bastard. I mean, really the main thing that pisses me off that he does is the headbutt move, just because it takes about half of your health out if it hits you. And he just has like a number of cheap tricks that kind of go along with some of this stuff. So, and he'll also do like a body shot where he kind of goes off past the center of the screen that makes him real difficult to hit. I'll tell you when, like that, So I mean, all of these guys in the major circuit have unorthodox patterns. That's the thing there, is they all have rhythms. They're not like the previous folks. And some people in the world circuit are not as bad, but if they don't have special techniques that they'll use, they have different rhythms that makes it more difficult to kind of predict. That's the thing. It's just something to keep you extra on your toes. I mean, the first Punch-Out didn't really do that. You'd have characters that could probably get their ass kicked that was just like, well, this guy's further than Bald Bull, but I still whipped his ass. I mean, it's not like that this time. I mean, every opponent is progressively tougher, and they probably have techniques or something that are just kind of bastardized. Because after Mr. Sandman is Aaron Ryan, and he's kind of simple, but the rest of those guys, they piss me off, so. But I think I can pretty much get the Super Macho Man. I mean, that's the thing, is just being able to beat him. I can beat Mad Clown, and it's just, I don't know how long it's going to take me to be able to get past Mr. Sandman. But if I keep losing, there's just going to be a bunch of these recording sessions, so it's not going to be 4 or 5 or 6 videos probably. But the next, after this couple of fights, we are halfway done with the game, so this happens to be a thing. But yeah, you'll also see some additional text. I don't know if other Let's Players out there show like their losses to some of these guys, but this is what he says when he beats you, so he'll have some new text. Cheater, I don't know what you're talking about, amigo. So yeah, Holmes, I'm about to knock this motherfucker out. But kind of funny. But I like this game, but I do kind of wish that there was a little bit more plot. I at least liked in the first Punch-Out that it would show like his trainer, I think the guy's name was like Doc or something like that. I want to say Doc Rivers, but I'm not sure. And the black guy, and it'll show them like training Rocky style and stuff. Lil Mac will be pushing him on a bike or something, and it'll just be a bunch of training sequences. But this game doesn't really do that. It's just pretty much to the point. There's no shred of storyline, and there's barely any cutscenes at all. So I do wish that there was a little bit more, so kind of showing him getting some money and training something. There could have been more as far as this went, but this series is just so off to the side. They really kind of undervalue it, and I don't know if because of Mike Tyson going to prison and the Evander Holyfield stuff, that had something to do with it. But this feels like Nintendo just doesn't really talk about this series much at all. They just kind of, it's like, oh, Super Punch-Out. They never go out of their way to mention this sort of stuff. And even on Instagram, Super Punch-Out is just not that popular, so I could use it. This is, like I said, this is one of the best games for the Super Nintendo. It's just too bad that at least the sellers that sold this game to me realized that, considering that this cost 35 bones. But, still, it's just, I know the worth, I know the value of this game. I'm not stupid. You just have to, most people are probably outspending stuff on, like, some other game, Zelda or some other crap, NBA Jam, something like that. There's so many games, but there's a number of them that just plain kick ass. This is definitely one of them. So I'm gonna get back to mauling this dude. He's kind of starting to piss me off just by how long he's been around. We both are at like the 3rd round, and he knows that he's being a bastard. He has endurance. That's the thing about this dude, is he has stamina. So, that's why I wasn't able to really knock him out with special attacks, is because his techniques, he has like 5 techniques that he can use. He can use that body shot where he goes way off to the side. He has his headbutt. He has the spitting. He has the technique where he wiggles his arm and then hits you up high and then down low. So he has he has a full palette of techniques to kind of keep you on your toes. Same thing with Mr. Sandman. Mr. Sandman will run his legs real quick, and that means he's about to do an uppercut. And then he'll also kind of flinch a bit, and then he'll start doing like a bunch of face jabs and stuff. And he'll do 3 of them, and then he'll switch and hit with his other arm, and that's usually the killing blow. But you just have to be able to avoid that. So when you knock him down twice, he'll really start ramping up his... even in the second playthrough when I beat this guy, he gave me a lot of trouble. just because, I mean, I could feel the blood pumping in my neck because I was getting mad. I wasn't at the point where I was about to start yelling, but I was still at the point where I was like, hey, this guy's kind of being a bastard, you know? It's because, some of these guys will get tougher after you knock them down twice. Like, Mad Clown will do that also. So, this is kind of... I was just like, damn it. And it's not exactly easy to hit this guy with specials. I mean, pros at this game can pretty much knock him down first couple seconds or so just because they have techniques that get damage on him, but he blocks a lot. I mean, he knows how to block. He's not just hit him a couple times and he's dazed. So he's the heavyweight champ of these guys, so... He just gets up on one. What a bastage. Can you believe that asshole getting up on one? Who does he think he is? Does he think he's like the real deal Holyfield or something? Manny Pacquiao? I forget how to completely... I looked up just last month how to say his name. But I don't really remember. I mean, he's a really good boxer, but... I'm telling you, they needed Mike Tyson in this damn game. I mean, I get that he would be more of a bastard than this guy is, or Super Macho Man, or any of these assholes. I mean, there should have been like a special 17th opponent after fighting all 16 of the regular characters. It's like, oh, super fight Mike Tyson, and then he would have done some stuff. Mike Tyson was still pretty large back in the 90s, and that was the thing. I mean, he had most of his popularity in the 80s, but he could still fight, 93, 94 and shit. It was good stuff. But Nintendo, I just don't think wanted anything to do with him because he got arrested. And I don't really remember. I mean, I read some of Tupac the rapper's biography, and it said that he was friends with him in prison, but... I mean, just the fact that they were both in prison around the same time, I don't really know as to the reason why Mike Tyson was in prison back then. But, I mean, he really didn't lose his credentials, so... But still, I mean, just going to prison is enough for Nintendo to kind of cut ties with you. You can think of other people that went to prison, like they probably would have cut ties with O.J. Simpson or people like that. Those sorts of fellows. That's why, Mr. Dream is in the Nintendo version instead of Tyson. So, I want the version with Mike Tyson, of course, but just very selective. See, this guy blocks a lot. He doesn't care. I mean, if you use a special, it will kind of hurt them if they block it still, but that's still something to kind of pay attention to. But this guy's a real bastard, so he's just he's giving me trouble. I'm just like, damn it. That's really how I felt at the time. I was just like, fuck this dude. The whole thing is... I just need a little bit better rhythm to knock this guy down. And that's the thing, they were giving him the benefit of the doubt that he was whipping my ass. I mean, at least I got up on 2, but it's kind of the thing. He's strong. That's the situation. He's strong and shit. Now is where he really starts getting tough. But we'll conclude this in part 3 and maybe part 4 before Mr. Sandman finally goes down. So just grab some popcorn, enjoy yourself, pause that Netflix, save it for later, just because, you got Punch-Out to watch. You got your pay-per-view with Acid Roots. You're paying basically nothing. You just have to get your remote and flip on some YouTube. You're in the middle of part 2 of Acid Roots fights Mr. Sandman, and he's basically, giving me the rundown right now. I'm not too happy about it, but what can you do? I'm just looking to use a special on this. I mean, this is how close I was to beating him. I just had to hit him one more fucking time. You don't know how mad I was about that. But, alright, so subscribe for more fun. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful night.